Hello and welcome to episode 73 of On the Bench, the podcast for scale modelers by scale modelers, all about scale modelling. And this episode is being brought to you through the generous support of our Patreon supporters. If you would like to join this extraordinary league of gentlemen, you can do so by going to www.patreon.com/onthebench and pledge any amount from $1 upwards. Your contributions are greatly appreciated and help with our production and hosting costs. The Scale Modelers Supply Lacquer Paints are a new and exciting range of paints specifically designed for the scale modeler. SMS paints have been formulated for airbrush use on a variety of scale model mediums, such as plastics, resins, and even metal. Being designed for airbrush use, all the guesswork with thinning ratios has been completely eliminated. All you need to do is give the sturdy glass bottle a good shake and then simply pour and spray. And of course, being an acrylic lacquer, they are tough. Much tougher than water-based paints and are very fast drying, giving you more time at the bench. SMS paints have a massive range of colours to choose from that will suit any scale model, including Gunpla, car, science fiction, aircraft, military, and even trains. And did we mention they also do a variety of weathering products, brushes, tools, and accessories? Go and check out the full range and find your local stockist by typing in scalemodeler.com.au or simply punch in SMS paints to your search engine. And hey, great news if you're in the US and Canada, SMS paints are now available through usagundamstore.com. So give SMS paints a try. I know you'll be happy with the result. And hello and welcome to the show. And tonight in the studio I've got Ian.
G'day Dave, g'day listeners.
And of course the irrepressible Julian.
Irrepressible. Okay, yeah, hi. Irrepressible, whatever that means.
And special guest tonight we got Robert Madden. Hello Robert, welcome back.
G'day, thanks very much.
That's quite alright.
Always good to have him back.
It is.
That's nice to hear.
So gents, what's been happening since the last episode?
Ooh.
I'll start with you, Ian.
Okay, the Scourge of Tokyo.
Scourge of Tokyo.
The Scourge of Tokyo is probably going to be finished by this weekend.
Oh, your Godzilla.
Yep. So I had the base is pretty much all done. I just got to mount him to the base and just fill up a little bit of gaps around his feet.
Hey, did you see that meme on Facebook? They're saying, how you got all this Baby Yoda stuff floating around. And I think it was you, Robert, who put on Facebook. What about Baby Godzilla?
Yes.
No,
yes,
that was,
Ian mentioned about Baby Godzilla.
Yeah. And what's Baby Godzilla's name?
I don't know.
Manila.
Manila?
Yeah.
I don't get
As
it.
in mini.
Yeah, Mini-Zilla. So Manila.
Oh, okay.
now that you know the sort of origins of the word, it's not that interesting, is it?
Yeah, no.
It takes away all the mystique.
So yeah, I'll be glad when it's finished. It's been a really fun build.
Cool.
So yeah.
Any new purchases?
No. Oh, just a few bits came in. Actually, no. That was last time I spoke to you. Some bits come in. No, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Oh, there you go. Julian, then, what's you been doing?
So I've been working on the LVTP5.
God, it's taken forever to get done. What's going on?
Yeah, because I've been lazy.
Oh.
So I did nothing until last night. I don't know why. Actually, no, that's not true. I've been doing little bits and pieces and things. Lots of little grab handles and whatnot that go on the top.
Yep.
And the resin, of course. Yeah. And
I got to say, I saw the resin at the club meeting, and I was so impressed with it.
It's very nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty nice. It's actually got bullet holes in the sandbags as well.
Who made the resin?
Hobby Fan, which are the technically the proper company that is AFV Club.
Just quickly, are those bullet holes or just air bubbles in the resin?
No, they're actually because there's air bubbles too, and they're in certain places. Like generally on the ends of the resin.
Right.
Well, if there's bullet holes in the sandbag, shouldn't there be sand leaking out of it?
Not necessarily.
Yes, necessarily.
Well, what if they just went through a monsoon?
In the sand's wet.
Hey.
Well, think about when you pile them up, they compact down and they're fairly, sort of solid in there. And then, when they get shot, so maybe a little bit of sand would come out, but that'd be it until you moved it, right?
Okay.
Does MIG do 35 scale sand?
No.
There's a place in the market.
Yeah,
Just
possibly.
buy some sand and get a mortar and pestle. Make your own flying sand.
The
I've done
model-
that before.
The model is mortar and pestle.
I've got a mortar and pestle. It's a handy tool.
Anyway, so I decided that it's time to paint. So I painted the rest of it, and it was looking really dark. Like the olive drab that I had from Mr. Paint was very, very, very dark, and it looked too dark. So I thought, I'll lighten this up. So I had another one of my olive drabs there that I'd used on a Sherman, and I sort of did some sort of fade work, and then I thought I'll blend that in. So I did some like broad, thin coats over the top, and it really changed the whole thing, and it looks really good now.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not by everyone's definition of good, but I think
But
I did
you're
a
happy
better
with
job than I've done previously. So I'm happy in that regard.
I'm very keen to see the finished result now.
Yeah, and then I got inside, and then I did all the sort of brush work for all the little details. So I brush painted all the sandbags in, and there's some little sort of like tie off type things like you have on ships.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cleats and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, there's like one on each corner of
Yep.
the vehicle, and there's the red and white coated.
Well, it's only a vehicle while it's on land. When it's in the water, it's a vessel.
A boat.
No, a boat's a submarine.
In any case, you look like you got something to say about
No.
that.
I'm yes, boats are submarines. Well, let's call it a vessel. It's the easiest way.
Okay.
Because the old rule: a boat goes in a ship doesn't go on a boat.
Okay.
That's the rule.
In any case, so I've got it all the color wise. I've got it all sort of squared away, and I'm gonna get home after this, and I'll gloss it because the paint that I used to lighten is that AK real color stuff, and that leaves a very matte finish. And even though I don't normally gloss before my decals, I'm not quite happy with how rough it feels that I would risk it with unknown decals that I haven't used before, because I don't know how V-Club decals perform. So I'll gloss it this time.
Cool.
Mr. Paint didn't go down really smoothly.
It did, but over that, I've got the AK Real Colors paint.
Right, yeah.
Really, really, really matte, dead flat. Like I can't even get like most of my matte finishes to finish that flat. I really wish they'd sell a flat clear, because I'm sure it'd perform really well.
Yeah, definitely. So what about you, Dave?
Oh, gee. Well, we had a bit of the disaster the other day. The laundry flooded, and a big tidal wave of water came out, and my model room backs onto the laundry, and I saw this big tidal of water come out, and we're mopping it up like crazy. And I saw it heading towards the model room, so I opened the door of the model room, and I'm glad I did, because somehow it seeped through the back of the wall and come into the wardrobe where all my models are sitting on the... So I was in there, and I'm digging models out, and I'm thinking, gee, I've got a big stash. I'm sort of getting it all out. And so the only damage was to a trumpeter Russian cruiser. The box got a little bit wet, but no damage to anything else. So I came out of it pretty
You did
lucky,
well.
actually. Did
I
well.
was thinking you were lucky that you're a ship modeler, because they'll float.
Well, yes.
Yeah, that's right.
That's true. Apart from that, this is interesting, because we're actually recording this episode on what's the date today? 22nd.
22nd, yeah.
And this episode is going to drop in 3 weeks, 4 weeks time, because we're pre-recording, because I'm going to be away. As this episode gets dropped, I'll be in. Let me think now. I think I'll be in Canada. So, why am I mentioning that? Oh, because I've been really busy with work, with the fires, 12-hour shifts, and tomorrow's my last day before I start holidays, and I'm just hanging out for it.
I'll bet.
I can't wait to get on that big silver bird and fly away.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if, since this is a pre-record, will new kit news now be known as old kit news?
Well, technically it might be, yeah. The only other thing is my kit arrived in that I ordered, as I think I mentioned last episode, my dad used to be in the 13th, 18th Royal Hussars, Queen Mary's Own, during his national service, and he used to drive a Dingo Scout car, and Miniart do one in 1/35th scale. So I was actually after a Daimler armoured car with a I think it's a 2-pounder on it, but you can only get one in 1/72nd scale. And it's the phone ringing. I'll just wait for that second. And the phone's put me off now. So so I'm building this for Dad and going to give it to him hopefully in about a year or so, or not a year or so, in sometime this year I should say. So because he's getting on now, and
as we all are.
Yeah, so I need to get it built. Robert, what have you been up to?
I've been building the AFV Club, not AFV Club, Kinetic F5B.
Yep.
And that's been a little bit challenging because I was starting to do the cockpit and there's no decal for the instruments. So I'm having to attempt to paint those.
Yeah.
And with my blind eyes, not so easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also working on a Renault R35, which is a Azimuth kit, which is half resin, half Hella R35.
Yep.
And unfortunately, it uses the bottom hull is in resin and the top's in plastic, the Hella bit, and they not the same length. Okay. We had a bit of a break there. We just listened to that back, and I incorrectly said Renault R35 when it's in fact a Renault R40 kit, which is a tank.
Yep.
And is a modified version of the R35. Sort of my favourite tank. That just looks so cute.
Cool.
Groovy.
All right. So how about we get into some listener mail first of all?
Yeah.
How does that sound before we have a look at what's new in the modelling world? And
Julian's fun bag.
Julian's fun bag. No. First of all, got a email from Ethan. G'day, Ethan.
Hello.
Ethan says, hello again from San Diego. As always, great podcast. Every time you guys release an episode, it is a real treat.
Thank you.
Oh, shucks. Thanks, Ethan. Also, as a club officer for IPMS San Diego, I think I can speak for the club in offering our deepest sympathies on the struggles Australia is facing in dealing with the wildfires. Thanks very much, Ethan.
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
As we go to air tonight, there's only 14 fires in Victoria, and the really big one in New South Wales is listed as contained.
That's good news.
Yeah. I'm going to say, it's been really, really gratifying because we always get Canadians and US firefighters coming across in these big campaign fires, but we've had, and the Kiwis, of course, but this time we've got the Kiwi military coming across, we've got people from Papua New Guinea, Fiji, Singapore, and it's just been a great international effort, and it's just been really awesome.
Well, we need it.
Oh, we do.
We need it.
Yes.
It's just way too much for us to handle.
Yeah, so thanks for that, Ethan. Ethan continues, I have a few comments on the last episode. First, Julian mentioned that Zvezda had the exclusive license for Star Wars models in the US and that Bandai kits were not available. This is not correct.
I'm not right.
The first time Julian is wrong.
Whatever.
For a long time, Revell had the exclusive license, but sometime in 2018, I should say.
1918.
It's a long time ago. That must have become non-exclusive because Bandai Star Wars kits are widely available over in the US at the moment. Second, regarding French bombers, I've often found the least successful military vehicles make for the most interesting models. For example, the Soviet multi-turreted tanks or the Japanese battleship/carrier hybrids. Maybe it's because they're not successful and therefore the designs appear to be unusual is what makes them an interesting modelling subjects. Thirdly, regarding using old electronics for details, I have to agree with Ian. Be especially careful of anything that plugs into the wall because of the capacitors.
Yes.
Old TVs in particular have capacitors that store a tremendous amount of charge.
VCRs.
How long do they hold charge for?
Until it's released. I suppose it'll bleed off eventually, but...
Right, so you could have a thing that's a year old and get zapped by.
Yeah, maybe,
Just treat it like a loaded gun.
Yeah, just don't touch a capacitor.
I don't know what a capacitor is.
Oh, it's like a little barrel, and that's where they store the energy in that barrel.
Right.
So it's like a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Okay.
The fourth thing that Ethan brings up is for rubber band tracks, I recommend trying Tamiya kits out of the box. I've always had good experience with them, including the rubber band tracks. Yeah, I get it. And you've done some rubber tracks, haven't you, Julian, with some success?
Yeah. I pick my subjects very carefully.
Yeah.
I would only do it on like the American vehicles of the war.
Yeah. And lastly, again, I have to agree with Ian. Photo etch is your friend,
Always.
even if it is the kind of friend that constantly borrows money, drinks all your beer, and camps out on your couch for weeks at a time. Best regards, Ethan. Thanks, mate.
Thanks,
Ethan.
Ethan.
It's a nice long email.
That is a good email.
Next up, Adam Greenwald writes in again. G'day, Adam.
Hello.
Hi, Dave and the team. Still listening and enjoying. Thanks for keeping going and keeping interesting. This summer, I started building the Revell Raython Hawk battery. Yeah, I know, it's no Tamiya quality super kit, but a nice nostalgia trip, and I do like my missiles. Anyhow, the radar really bugged me in that the receiver dishes were really wrong, and I couldn't live with them. So it went on the shelf while I looked for something to make a dish from. Finding something dish-shaped is harder than you'd think it should be. However, just before Christmas, I went into a charity shop and spotted some cheap baubles, which are just a ticket. Job done, so anything can be pressed in the service, and the point is, these are cheap baubles, not the expensive, brittle, glittery glass ones, but they're very thin and cuttable plastic. The kit can now be finished. On a Godzilla note, Submersion, a podcast about submarine movies, is doing a Godzilla season, yes.
Ooh, a whole season.
Yeah, I've never heard. Is it Submersion is a podcast about submarine movies and they're doing Godzilla season? Well, there you go, Ian.
Well, guess what I'm listening to?
He just says he just also finishes up. He's not being paid. In fact, it's not one of his favourite seasons they've done. But if you're into Godzilla, you might enjoy it or not. And I will buy more tools. His word is the law. Cheers. Very good. Thanks, Adam. Of course, if we love hearing from all our listeners, so if you want to send us an email, we're happy to read it out, and you can send it to onthebench64@gmail.com. Or if you're on our Facebook page, there's a little button at the top right-hand corner where you can send us a message, and it sends a direct link to email,
Correct.
I think,
Yep.
from memory. Yep.
And that
That's
way
all.
all three of us can look at it.
Yes, that's a good point, yeah, because all the emails come to me, so I filter out all the bad ones about me.
That's the way to do it.
Oh.
I think you filtered out one I sent you.
No, did you have some? What did you have?
I was responding to someone was talking about the springs on their kit.
No,
No,
we
we covered
out.
that.
Yeah, we covered
Oh,
that.
I haven't heard it.
Well, there you
Ah.
go.
There you go. All right.
Yes.
Because that was last week, so it hasn't
Yeah, it
come
was.
out.
Yeah,
Right.
okay. It's very confusing
It
for us
is.
because we normally do it every fortnight, as I said. But with me, with the fires, and with the fact that I'm going away, we've had to sort of do about 3 episodes
Back to back.
back to back, and then drip feed them in the usual fortnightly release schedule, and it's terribly confusing to try and remember where we're up to and what we've already spoken about.
Exactly. Totally agree.
You look like you're about to say something.
No, I'm all right. No, I was just it is a bit confusing, isn't it? To me,
Yeah, it
because
is.
it's kind of like we'll look at what's come out every week for the past 3 episodes, and surprisingly, there's been plenty of stuff being released. we weren't stuck for subjects to talk about. But
Exactly right. Well, speaking of new subjects that have been released, let's have a look at what's new in the modelling world. And Revell have announced their February release, and there's some interesting stuff in there, and there's some not interesting stuff in there. First of all, in 1/72nd scale, they've got a Dassault Mirage F1C, and the decals that come with it have a great big red star on, so I'm a bit confused as to what that's all
And
about.
you know what it is?
What?
You look at it's got an arrow on the side that says Normandy.
Yeah.
So I would say that's probably got something to do with the Normandy Niemen squadron
Oh, yeah.
that the French pilots were fighting with the Russians during the Second World War, alongside the Russians at the Normandy Niemen squadron. They flew very famously. Was it Yak 3s? I think that's very famous.
Yeah.
You've blown my mind. Seriously, French pilots flew for the Russian
So
Air
did
Force.
Australians, so did English, so did Americans.
What?
Yeah.
Never knew.
I
that.
read a story recently about an American tanker who ended up being a T-34 crewman for nearly half the war.
I heard that because he escaped. And
He escaped the prison, yeah.
He escaped the prison war camp and
Yep.
ended up in
In
Russia.
the Russians.
And convinced them that
Yeah.
he had a very...
And you look at the photos of the guy, and he looks like a guy who just beat people up.
yeah, he looks like he's from the back streets of Brooklyn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, real knuckle duster sort of fella.
Yeah. That was a very interesting story. All right, on to the kit release anyway. So I think there's actually a new kit.
Really? From
Nah.
Revell?
Revell,
Yeah.
it'd be re-released.
Well, I don't know because they're showing. They don't often show the sprues if it's not a new kit.
Okay.
So cockpit is detailed with a seat.
Well, hopefully. Otherwise, you're going to have a hard time flying without your seat.
Well, generally, I wouldn't assume that it's a new kit unless it said new tool somewhere.
You know, Julian, you're right, and I shouldn't make that
Assumption.
You're right. It comes with 2 Matroke guided missiles, and 2 Nassau segments, and the decals for the commemorative Russian-French thing look really good because the overall colour of the jet's in black, and it looks
Kind of nice little shark's teeth on the fuel pod.
Oh, that's sold for you then, isn't it?
Nah.
Next up in 1/72nd. Next up in 1/72nd scale is a Junkers F-13,
Yes.
which is a very odd aircraft.
And if my memory serves me correctly, a very famous Australian World War II pilot ended up with a couple of those flying New Guinea Airlines.
Oh, really?
Bobby Gibbs.
Oh, well, there you go.
Looks a bit cruel for the pilot because the passengers have got a cabin and the pilots are out in the open.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
But if you're flying around New Guinea, it's nice and warm. So
Well, that's true.
unless you fly into a monsoon, then you're in all sorts of bother.
Well, this model comes with decals for 2 versions there, Gdansk or Swiss version. And, of course, with all Junkers or of this the passenger type, it's got that sort of corrugated stuff. So, which, makes it a different subject, modelling
It does.
subject.
But, geez, it's a challenge to decal that
Oh, it would be,
with the corrugations.
Yeah.
A real challenge.
Next up, still in 1/72nd scale, is an A10C Thunderbolt 2.
And Second World War style markings.
Yeah, obviously commemorating the Second World War of some description.
Nice to see big markings.
Yeah, big star and bar. It looks all right.
In 72nd scale, yeah. Yeah.
I like the A10s. The A10's a great aircraft.
I see that the US Air Force has sort of given up and fighting to get rid of them and just sort of said, we'll live with it.
Oh, have they?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I reckon the A10 will be like the B-52 and just keep going.
Yeah, just keep going, yeah. It's a silly move to get rid of them because they just excelled so well in their role.
Will still excel so well in their role. But you think, why not just build a new... Well, I guess their thought process is with precision guided munitions and everything. You don't need anything, so getting that low and slow. But the ground troops just love them.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that nowadays the environment, anti-aircraft environment is just so dangerous. Apparently they're pulling out of helicopters quite a bit as well.
But these have been, even pictures from the Gulf War where they're sort of flying back with the damage, and they were designed to take that damage, and the pictures actually show that they can take that damage and get back home again. And let's not forget, the pilots sitting in that great big titanium bathtub as well, so they're well protected. I think there's always going to be a role for having a close air support aircraft. So whether they continue to sort of use this or
Because everyone just loves that sound.
yes, that's true as well. Here's one for Ian. This is 1/35th scale.
Yep.
And it is
It's an
a
SD
German half-track.
Yep, SDKFZ 251/1, but I've already got one.
But importantly, it's an ULSF A.
Oh, it's an ULSA A. I don't have an ULSA A.
And I think that's probably an ICM kit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ah.
Interesting.
Next up, we have in 1/720th scale. Oh, my Lord.
So close.
The assault ship USS Tarawa, LHA-1. You know why? And don't be telling me it's in the box scale, because 1/720th scale is... Nobody builds in that scale. You either build in 1/700th scale, if you still got old Airfix kits, 1/600th scale, 1/350 scale, 1/1200th scale if you're doing little wargaming stuff.
Yep.
This 1/720th scale is just stupid.
It's to me, it's you build the one kit and that's it, because you're not going to have anything else you're going to be able to scale it to. And Dave just broke his own microphone.
Microphone just fell off.
He was so upset about the weird scale. He just ripped it off.
He just went bananas.
It's come off its stand. I'm going to have to... We'll stop in a minute. We're nearly there.
But it looks very basic.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But there's not much you can do
Does
with
it
that
snap
scale.
together?
Oh.
Looks kind of snapped together.
Looks very basic, doesn't it?
Yeah, very, very basic kit. I suppose it's something to get the kids in.
Oh, it's something for the photo etch, I think.
Oh.
About 7 or 8 sheets of photo etch to make
You
it
have to do that one easily.
Yeah, the kind where it says, remove this, remove that, remove... you know.
Or better still, just throw out half the bits and scratch build your rest.
Lastly, in 1/24th scale, have Mercedes-Benz, I think this says 1017 LF16, which is a fire truck.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a little sort of sub-genre that there's some people out there who really dig through the stuff and building it. So if you haven't got a Mercedes fire truck in your collection, this is going to be certainly one you'll be looking at.
Definitely.
And last but not least, in 1/12th scale, a Yamaha 250 DT-1.
Oh, classic.
It is a classic, and it'll make a nice little kit in that scale, and shouldn't need too much work. And you could do that. That's something I like about the motorcycle kits. It's out of the box, bang. You don't have to sort of buy any.
Oh, you can.
Stuff. You can.
There's a ton of aftermarket.
But you don't need to, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, perhaps you should speak to motorcycle modelers, and they'd probably say, "Well, you've got to change everything."
Well, what surprised me was the amount of aftermarket there is for automotive modelers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've bought
But
aerials, valve stems. You can buy valve stems for your cars.
Yeah. But the problem is because there's so many products, so many cars, and so many products for those cars, that you end up with small volumes spread sporadically across this really wide area.
Yep.
And the chances of you being able to get what you need is probably quite small.
Yes. Because I bought photo etch bonnet pins, number plate surrounds, aerials, valve stems.
Valve stems.
Yeah.
Wow.
To pump your tyres up. Because they don't come... buy a car model, they don't come with valve stems on the rims.
Yeah, I guess so.
When are you going to do a large-scale car so that you can really super detail it?
What, like Barbie's dream car?
The new Mung GT40.
Oh, that's going to be the one.
That'd probably be the one, yeah.
Oh.
Tell you what, they're going to sell a lot of those just to our club.
Yeah.
Everyone loves that car.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Ford fans out there, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, not even Ford fans. Everyone likes GT40s. And if you don't like Ferraris, you love GT40s even more.
All right. Has anybody else got any new stuff that they're aware of?
Oh,
Well, of course I do.
Of course you do, Rob.
What I don't know is what you've spoken about before in previous
That's all right.
time-shifted episodes. You must have mentioned all the new stuff from ICM.
May have.
No, I think we didn't.
That's a
And the
shame
reason-
because I didn't write that down.
Then we probably didn't.
I thought you would have. So.
No, we didn't, because it was going through their new stuff on... It wasn't really easily identifiable and readable.
Right.
So we sort of skipped that.
Okay, well, I'll mention one thing I can remember.
Okay.
They're doing in 35th scale a Leyland Retriever truck, which by the looks of it served right throughout the war.
Ooh.
So it's an interesting British truck. The original ones sort of didn't really have windscreens. They had sort of stick them in place windscreens, so they had it was all open. I remember one of their cars they called the pneumonia mobile.
Because you got pneumonia.
It just had those little aero screens.
Just to stop wind getting in your face. And that's
basically,
about it.
yeah. That was,
I think
you had to be tough.
The windscreens are aspirational.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and that's quite interesting. What else are they doing? Oh, they're doing the for the people that like French tanks. They're doing the FCM 36, which is the French only had 100 of them.
Yeah.
And they're like a French light tank, but they're all welded and all sort of flat panels. It's quite a different looking French tank, and it's something I thought would never ever be kitted.
Wow.
So that's interesting. So that's coming, and
That's
I'll be buying one of those.
That's one of the two-man tanks, right?
Yeah,
With the pyramid-shaped...
that's the pyramid-shaped turret.
Pyramid-shaped turret.
A pyramid-shaped turret.
Yeah, it's not exactly a pyramid, but you look at it, that's close enough to a pyramid.
It's an important tank because they were the tanks that were at Sedan and were dealing with the initial German breakthrough. They've lost pretty much all the tanks there.
Yep.
And unlike what they say about the French, they're actually fighting very hard.
Oh, absolutely. I think we've touched on this subject before we had you on last time. Yeah.
I just thought to mention it again.
A lot of those I know the Dutch fought very hard.
Yeah.
But they just outnumbered.
Is there anyone who didn't fight hard? Exactly.
Austrians.
The Austrians.
They just let them walk in.
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
The Czechs tried to fight, but no one helped them.
Yeah.
Who don't we like? Then we could say they didn't fight. Any particular? You want to sort of lose friends, Ian, and mention some country you don't like?
The Swiss.
Right.
The Swiss. Those dirty, dirty Swiss. All they did was make fondues.
You've just lost all your
cuckoo clocks.
And cuckoo clocks. Right, okay.
How many people from Switzerland listen to this, Dave?
No, we love you, Switzerland. You make good clocks.
And fondues.
And fondues.
And chocolate.
And chocolate.
Yeah, Swiss chocolate.
I noticed in the UK...
Land of chocolate.
in the UK, the joke is that was made about the Belgians.
The Dutch do that too.
Oh, so no one likes the Belgians.
Because the Belgians are on the Dutch border.
Right.
So the Dutch always hang it on the Belgians.
I think the Belgians are very nice. I'm quite I wish someone would make some kits of their armoured vehicles because they had some interesting stuff too.
Aren't the Belgians like their national language is French and German?
No, I think it's a cross between French and Dutch.
What is Walloon or something?
Yeah, it's very Dutch.
It's sort of like a
Some
polyglot.
Australians talking about Europe. This will be very...
Oh yeah,
no, this is going to be very accurate.
Oh yeah,
it's a polyglot, really, isn't it? So you got like the Dutch and the Germans and French speaking, I should say, German speaking, Dutch speaking people living in Belgium because it's an amazing little country.
There's a city in Belgium that half of it, I can't remember the name of it, but half of that city is actually Dutch territory, and this territory actually goes through people's houses.
Right.
So you go from one side of the house to the other. You go from Belgium to Holland.
Do you need a visa?
No, because European Union.
Right. Oh, that's why they've got it.
Yeah. Yes.
Otherwise, customs in your toilet.
I think it's something on the French border that's similar too, I think, or am I thinking of a different...
Don't know.
No, I think of a different one.
Don't know.
Dave, would you like to just mention the email so all the people from Belgium and Switzerland can write to you?
Oh, yes. Any complaints to Ian can be on the bench 64@gmail.com.
Yes.
And I won't filter them. I'll read them out.
I look forward to that.
I was all said in jest.
What else you got there?
Oh, okay, right. Now, Copper State Models are a very small Ukrainian company.
Yep.
Used to be American. And they're doing some really interesting
They
stuff.
have some really nice aircraft kits.
Well, that's right. But also the thing that they're really doing well with are armoured cars at the moment.
Oh.
And they did the Lanchester and they did the Romfell, which is like something out of the wacky races. It's so cool looking. They only made one, but it really is really interesting and it's a really nice kit. They're also doing working on a Lancia 1ZM Auto Blinda, which is an Italian armoured car, which is quite... You'd probably know it if you saw it. But
is that the one they end up using in the police as well?
Didn't they use pretty much all their armoured cars in the police?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
But it's... I remember seeing a movie where they'd made beautiful reproductions of these. That was an Italian movie ages ago. But anyway, this is one that Julian might know, but I think no one would know this name. It's a Garford Putilov armoured car / truck because it's big.
Sounds Russian.
But it was it's in a computer game. Do you know that World War One game? That
Yeah.
Whichever that was.
Yep.
Apparently it featured in that.
Okay, Battlefield 1.
Battlefield 1. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So you would know it.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know it by the name. But
right, but you know it by sight.
Yeah, probably.
It's a big trucky looking armoured car. It looks pretty interesting actually.
Okay.
Cool.
Anyway, so that's coming from them.
Used by who?
Russia.
Oh, Russia. Is this the thing with the turrets on the sides and things?
It might have.
Okay.
It's got a big 75mm turret on the back.
Yeah, it's a bit weird thing, yeah.
But weird is interesting.
Yes, absolutely, especially from World War One.
Yeah.
All that stuff's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Copper State models are all about World War One. So
Because their first one was the Newport, wasn't it? Newport 17.
yeah, I did see on one of the forums that they might be sort of pivoting slightly away from the 32nd scale aircraft, more towards 48 scale aircraft, and that the
because they're also brought out or bringing out the Aviatix, aren't they?
Yeah,
and which is really sad because Wingnut Wings is also bringing out exactly the same aircraft.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I think it's the Hansa Brandenburg Starstrutter.
Yeah, that's the one. Hansa
that was
Brandenburg
unfortunate.
That's probably why they're pivoting away. They're thinking, well, it's going to cost them so much.
Yeah.
So yeah,
well, that's fair enough too. You're not in it for charity. You're in it to make money.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, Hobby, who are a fantastic company. They've done probably the best Hurricane in any scale, in 72nd scale. They've got a new kit coming out of Grumman FM2. Which is
the Wildcat.
Wildcat with the tall tail.
Made by General Motors.
Yeah. Apparently, all the kits of it so far are sort of a bit of hybrids. And
I've got the Hobby Boss one, and
it's
not as good as I hoped, the Hobby Boss one.
That'd be 48 scale, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. This is 72nd scale.
Oh, nice.
And from Hungary, a firm called Planes are bringing out a 48 scale JU86K. And I thought it was in injected plastic, but it's in resin. But they're doing wonderful things in resin now. It looks like a injected kit.
Wow.
But it's very expensive being resin. But,
yeah.
You know, if you really want one, which some people do.
A K model Stuka. 87, you said, wasn't it?
Oh, 86.
86.
Yeah, the twin engine bomber.
Oh, the early war one.
Yep.
Yep. Used in Condor Legion.
Yeah.
Spain.
Yeah, Spain, yep.
And by Hungary, which is why they bring it out.
Well, there you go.
Also, Academy have got, I noticed they've got 3 35th scale armour kits coming out. They're doing a Panzer III ASP J, a Panzer II ASP F, and a Sturmpanzer IV Series 3 Brumbar. Bear, probably.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah. So, Academy are doing some decent stuff now, so that'll be interesting. And it will no doubt be cheaper.
And I believe it's
Dragon.
Academy's 51st birthday or something this year.
They've been around that long?
Yeah, they've been around that long, yeah.
I keep forgetting how long I've been around. Also, Wolfpack are releasing the Hobbycraft P35A in Philippines markings. So for the sort of few days that they were still operating in the Philippines before they were wiped out by the Imperial Japanese Air Force. So that'll be interesting. It's quite a nice kit. And also, something I'm interested in is the Tamiya Renault R35, the 35th scale one, is coming out in February, and we've learnt that it has link and length tracks, two marking options, and a commander figure. So,
and lately the Tamiya figures are beautiful.
Yeah,
too.
they're really good.
nicely sculpted.
It's interesting. There's only 2 decal options. I think it's because of the price range of the kit, because there are so many marking options for the Renault R35. So I'm sure the decal manufacturers will get on that.
They will.
And what's the last thing? Oh, there's one. This is not a new news. It's just something I heard. I was sad to hear. Derek Pennington, who was a big hyperscale contributor, has recently died.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
he said, I was,
commiserations to his family.
Yeah, condolences. He seemed like a really nice bloke.
Yeah. He disappeared from the forums there for many years, from hyperscale, and people were asking where he was.
It's the one sad thing about our hobby, with ageing hobby, and tend to sort of get this quite a bit.
Yep.
So that is tragic, and of course condolences to the family.
Yeah, and he'll be missed in the modelling community.
Yes. And the last thing I've got is there'll be a lot of new kit releases soon because Nuremberg is coming up.
Yes.
29th of January to the 2nd of February, so that'll be exciting.
See what's coming new.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
That'll actually occur after we've published this episode.
Oh, right.
Yep. So when I get back from a trip, we'll have to do a review of Nuremberg.
Yes.
You will see what the new releases are from there.
Correct. All the pictures, and you can sort of pick everything to pieces.
Yep.
All right. Let's have a quick break, and then we'll get into our main discussion, which tonight is going to be on
model kit manufacturers. The pros, cons, who's good, who's not good, and
the who's who and the zoo.
It's correct. It is good to review because there's a lot out there now.
Yeah. All right, we'll hold that thought, and we'll be back after this very, very short break. Fine Scale Modeller is proud to support On the Bench. Fine Scale Modeller is the world's most recognised and essential magazine, and is available in all good newsagents and newsstands or wherever you purchase your magazines. Alternatively, go to their website www.finescale.com and subscribe to either the print edition or the digital edition, or why not both? Go now. Go to www.finescale.com. Okay, we're back to have our chat about model kit companies, and that's why I've got Robert in. So, Robert, why don't you lead off on the discussion?
Well, I was thinking about this particularly because I saw a thread on Hyperscale where someone who was making the FX Mark 14 Spitfire was basically getting on to complain about it. Wasn't up to his expectations, and I thought a lot of times people, and you often see on forums asking, say, what's this manufacturer like? And I thought it would be just good to give a bit of a overview of what you can expect from each of the manufacturers.
Yeah, great idea.
Also, there's plenty of manufacturers that a lot of people haven't even heard of.
That's true.
Yeah, totally agree.
I mean, realistically speaking, we try to cover a lot of things in our, what's new, but there's a lot of things
there's a lot of stuff that goes
past.
Yeah, goes under the radar.
Well, and you've brought a list in with you, and even some of these I've never even heard of. So let's start from the top then. So from the UK, what have we got from the UK in regards to kit manufacturers?
There's Airfix.
Yes.
They've been going since, 1939?
Yeah. And I think actually making plastic kits, I think from about 1949, I think they might have done.
Sounds about right.
No, that was the first they were making combs. They originally started off making inflatable rubber toys, I think.
Oh, right.
But
thus the name Airfix.
Yeah. But their first kit, actual plastic kit, was a Massey Ferguson tractor, which they did as a promotional item.
Yep.
And then they started doing it as a kit, and people loved it, and they went on from there. But they've been going such a long time that, and they also keep re-releasing their old kits. So you need to do your research before you buy a kit, because you could get a state of the art kit, and the box next to it is going to be something from 1954.
Yep.
So that's one thing you need to be careful. They have that. I know a lot of people were very pleased when Airfix that they looked like they were going out of business because they were sort of working with Heller and they all went down, and Hornby came in and bought them and injected a lot of cash, and they started doing a whole lot of new kits.
Yes.
And I've been a bit of a cheer squad for them because I grew up with Airfix. I love Airfix, but I've been a bit disappointed because some kits have been good and some not so good, and I'm sort of at the point where I'm thinking,
miss.
See, I don't have those sort of nostalgia goggles that I find a lot of people have.
Yeah.
For Airfix, so all I see is kits that are sort of the decals are. I've built them.
Yeah.
I've built an Airfix kit, and in recent memory, and I found the decals to be good. The plastic very soft, rubbery, and still the softest plastic I've encountered yet.
Yeah.
And the panel lines leave a lot to be desired. They're too wide.
Yeah, the latest, I think it's the Mix 17 that's coming out. Ooh, trenches.
Yeah, it's got huge trenches, hasn't
it? Deeper than Matchbox, it looks like.
Yeah. That was Matchbox. Everyone knew Matchbox in the 70s and 80s. You bought a Matchbox kit, and they were huge trenches.
Well, let's continue on the list there. So you got Frog UK.
Yeah, they were the first people to actually bring out plastic kits.
Yeah, in cellulose.
Yeah. So apparently cellulose bends and warps, and that's why polystyrene's better. But they sort of went out of business, but they were also quite a common kit for people in the Commonwealth nations, I think. Mm-hmm. But there won't be any kits that are of modern standard from them. So if you're looking, that's a nostalgia build, I think, for most people. Or there might be a subject there's no other kit of, but know what you're going in. It's not going to be one of the latest kits.
Oh no, of course not. Yeah. Far from it. Then you got Matchbox. Good old Matchbox.
I loved making Matchbox kits.
Me too. I used to love their 176 scale armour kits that came with little bases.
Oh, yes, they were a lot of fun.
Great. Little portable little diorama. Because they're gone now, aren't they?
They went out of business. But you can still get the kits through Revell. A lot of 176 scale kits in armour from Revell are actually Matchbox kits.
In fact,
really?
We saw that last year. Revell released the Puma.
We
re-released that. So obviously, Revell must have some of their moulds and just sort of, now and again sort of pumping them out.
Yeah. The interesting thing too about Matchbox is they did some weird subjects. Things like a Stranraer.
Yes, I remember
Wellesley.
that. Yep.
I mean, see, the guy who was running it, I'm trying to think his name now, it's escaping me. He obviously loved aeroplanes, and but they were sort of really aiming it at the kid market because they were really easy to put together. Their biplanes were fantastic.
Yes,
they were really good.
Yes, I remember their Gloucester Gladiator was an absolute dream to put together.
And they were the first one to sort of do the multicoloured plastic as well, from memory.
That's right, yeah.
Even before the Japanese sort of got into doing
as
that.
a kid, you didn't need to paint them because they were already coloured.
It didn't always work because I remember the Zero was in white and red.
Yes. That's a good way to make a Zero even bigger target.
Yeah.
Next from the UK, Pegasus. Yeah, that's a blast from the past.
Yeah, they're a short-run manufacturer.
Yep.
And I think Pegasus were doing 72nd scale mostly, I think. And they had like an offshoot Blue Max.
Yep.
And they did a lot of
the
World War One stuff.
Yep.
Very short run, but actually quite nice kits and can be made into nice models if you're interested in 48 scale World War One stuff. They'd sometimes have white metal. And I think there was Silver Cloud was like a World War II version. But I think only one kit came out by recollection.
Yes.
Yeah.
Finally, Impact.
Yes, and before we recorded, I said to Robert, I said, I can't remember them. And then Robert says, you've actually got some kits of Impact. I've actually got some Impact kits in my box of old kits at home.
I can say I can't recall Impact as a kit manufacturer.
Well, as you can see, it only lasted from 67 to 1972.
Yep.
But the kits are actually available, I think, through Lindbergh.
The American manufacturer.
Yeah, so there's the Gladiator fight. What was the other one?
There was a Fury.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
A Gladiator and the Bristol Bulldog.
Yeah, and I think a Fairy Flycatcher.
Yeah.
The kits are actually surprisingly good.
Yeah, I was really surprised. Yeah.
Really nice. Good. So I saw someone was trying to make a really good Fury and they had to cross-kit the Airfix one, which is horrible. Sorry, Airfix. But it's an old one. And this kit from Impact, and the Impact one was so much better than the Airfix one. So they're really good.
We skipped one. Blue Max?
Yeah,
we took that.
Oh, we did it?
Yeah,
it's a derivative offshoot of Pegasus, yeah.
Oh, right.
And hence Blue Max, that's why I did World War One stuff.
Correct.
Okay.
And then we'll step across the channel to Italy.
Italeri.
Italeri.
Yes.
They've had a few different names, like different versions of Italeri.
Yeah, they've changed their name a few times, haven't they?
Yeah, there was one that sort of sound. It's probably wrong, but it sounds like Italieri.
Yeah, there's an extra I in there.
Yeah, and there's been a few spellings. Apparently, it's even hard to say in Italian, some of the names. At least that's what I read.
Because you were saying what they started in 1962 by two modelers.
Yeah, a lot of firms are often not modelers who start model companies. They're sort of like people that maybe cut moulds or have some sort of plastics thing. They think, we'll make some money out of this. Because back in those days, there was a lot of money to be made. They used to sell lots of kits. And but it's interesting, and they were really dedicated to quality and accuracy.
Yes.
Which they could do with a bit more of that at the moment.
Oh, yes. Definitely. But no, they had a good benchmark there in the early days, didn't they?
And I remember too, with their 35th scale armour kits, they were considered at least the equal, or even sometimes better than Tamiya.
Yeah.
So depending, this is a case of if you're looking at kits, like the thing is, they keep making kits unless the mould's broken. They're going to keep pumping them out, and you can have a good kit from a manufacturer and a bad kit. So the best thing is you've got to do your research. If you're listening to this, you're on the internet. So check out ScaleMates, and they will tell you a lot about the kit, how old it is, where it came from. So if you're looking to buy a kit, spend 5 minutes having a look there.
Yep, totally agree. Eschi.
Eschi started...
Worst decals ever. Eschi decals. They were horrid decals.
Well, Eschi started out as an import company.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they sort of just ended up getting into models...
With their silly little penguin logo.
Well, sort of cute.
Silly little penguin.
But... I must admit I don't have much experience of Eschi.
No, I built a few kits, and look, the kits themselves weren't bad for their age, but I just remember the decals were the worst.
Yeah.
They were just this flat material, and they just wouldn't stick. They were just no good.
A lot of their kits now are coming from Italy. They bought them up. So.
Right. Then you got another one here, Supermodel. There's one that doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, Supermodels. I don't know a lot about it. I know Italy put out a lot of their kits, but things like, is it the SM81 tri-motor with fixed undercarriage? And they did like a Sagittario, the fighter. Sort of, it's got quite a funky 60 style logo, I remember.
Right.
Yeah, but they seem quite similar to Italy kits.
Right.
So, I think maybe too, Italy have also updated some of their kits by putting in a few extra parts. So, again, they're available through Italy. So, raised panel lines, naturally. But, again, older kits, that's what you're going to get.
That's it, yeah. They didn't have the technology. Then we'll step into France.
Hella.
Yeah, say no more.
Only Hella.
Only Hella. It's a hell of a kit.
It's a funny thing. I spoke to a guy from France about Hella, and he didn't hold Hella in the same sort of affection that we in the Commonwealth hold Airfix. I sort of like I said to him, I expected him to have great memories of Hella, but he's very dismissive. He didn't think they were very good. But then again, if you want French aircraft, probably going to be Hella that does them.
Oh yeah.
Well, I told you. I think I've mentioned on this podcast about 3 episodes ago. I got burnt. I bought a Italeri. It was a water bomber.
Oh yeah.
And when I got home and opened it up, it was actually the Hella kit reboxed by Italeri, which annoyed me intensely.
Yeah.
And just goes to show that you should do your research when you're in a model shop and go to Scalemates or something like that and check it out. And I was very disappointed.
You're very prone to impulse buying.
Yeah, I know. And, this should teach me a lesson. But and I thought, I'll give it a crack. And I've started to put it together. But gee, it's a horror kit.
Yeah,
it really is.
Too true.
So perhaps Hella is still going. They looked like they were going to go to business, but they were bought by a German company called OTB, I think. And they're apparently, at least the German company said they were going to be putting out some new kits. But they weren't going to do 35th scale armour, which I was disappointed because I thought, French. But no.
Let's go across to Poland now.
Lots of cool companies in Poland.
Poland I would say they're a comer. They're doing some good stuff in Poland.
Yep. You got here IBG.
IBG. I don't know what the initials stand for, but they're doing some good stuff. I've had. Sometimes hit and miss, but it's sort of they tend to be on the up. I know I think you guys talked about it on the last podcast, which we haven't heard yet, about their new 32nd scale PZL P11.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks like a good kit.
Yeah.
It looks so good. And if they're doing that sort of stuff, I think they're going to be a big name.
Yep. So a lot of they do a lot of armor kits.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are in, especially trucks as well.
Yeah, they do a lot of trucks, don't they?
They do, and a lot of them are in 72nd scale, and then some of them, I'm not sure if there's like a process, if they get enough sales, they'll bump them up to 35th.
Right.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the kit, but I saw recently, I think it's a Lancia RO truck, and someone was saying that's been their best 35th scale, and it's their latest one. So, if they're... I'm really looking forward to see what they do in the future.
Yeah.
Armour Hobby.
Oh, I really like armour kits. They're very good. They're 72nd scale, but I think their Hurricane is the best Hurricane of any scale on the market.
Wow, that's a big call.
You should see it. It's super quality. Really good. Fantastic fabric. And for me, if you can get the fabric right, then you're doing a really good job. They're obviously really interested in doing.
So the Hurricane, was it the Ragwing Hurricane they did? Was it or the?
No, they've done the metal wing in the Mark 1, and don't think it's out yet, but they've done a Mark 2.
Oh. Our friend, I think it's Paul Gloucester. He won first at Expo with his 72nd scale Hurricane, which is the Armour Hobby kit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that looked fantastic.
Yeah,
it did.
Next up is
Mirage Hobby.
Mirage.
Yeah, Mirage have been around for a while, and they are capable of doing some really good stuff. I know I bought when I was interested in World War I aircraft for about 5 minutes, I bought a kit of theirs, and it was very much like a 48 scale wing nut wings kit. It was really terrific detailing, fantastic decals, a beautiful instruction booklet, and but they don't do a lot of stuff lately. They had quite a lot of what I guess would be short run armour kits, which were okay. But
I'm interested in their 48 scale P11, PZ11.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Good enough.
Yeah, I think you'd enjoy it.
Okay.
They also do a PZL23. Okay, I've got to.
And they also do some good ships too in 1/350 scale.
Yeah, also some in 400 scale too, don't they?
Yeah, let's not talk about 400 scale.
RPM.
Yeah, that's pretty much short run stuff.
Is
It's from the old days of where they used to sort of share moulds with Russian companies. And
Is that like MPH?
miles per hour.
No, what was it MPH? Because I'm trying to remember I've got I started it.
Yeah, there's
the
an HPH.
The Heinkel 217, and it was all resin.
Right, that might be HPH.
HPH, yeah. Where are they from?
I think they're from Czech Republic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll get to it.
Let's move across to the New World, USA. And of course, we'll start with Revell.
Which don't exist in America anymore.
No.
Yeah.
So, kiss goodbye to that. Monogram then.
Also, they don't exist.
Oh, no.
They're gone.
Yeah.
I mean, they were airfix for
The
the
Americans.
US. Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
And they,
Plus, they did really cool muscle cars.
well, yes.
And their bombers, their 48 scale bombers, still.
Yeah.
Well, they may have raised panel lines, but geez, they were nicely detailed.
The Helldiver I did recently was a monogram kit.
Yep.
And also, I think the last thing they brought out was probably something like the Ventura, or maybe I think they brought out the Cadet.
The
Stearman,
trainer.
the Stearman trainer.
Yep.
Apparently really nice, but their sort of parent company went out of business, and so did they.
Yeah, and they folded, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame.
It is. AMT, 1958 slide moulding you've got written
Get some
here.
Yes,
brass
because
muscle cars.
The fella who actually, the next one down is called Johan, a fellow who worked for AMT and later went to Johan. They brought in the first slide moulds so they could make car bodies.
Yep.
So we'll hear about, slide moulding nowadays. It's old.
Yeah.
It's
These
ancient.
guys did it.
Nothing's new. So that goes to Johan as the next manufacturer from the US.
They made some really, really unusual American cars.
Oh, did they?
Chrysler Turbine,
Yep.
which is what they built the Batmobile out of.
Now, was it Chrysler who did a model of a nuclear-powered family car? Was it? I was reading something.
Sounds like something from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
No, they actually did a model of it, and they were, this is when nuclear was the new big thing, in the late 40s, early 50s, and they built a design in for a nuclear-powered car. It would run forever. I'm sure that would impress the oil companies.
Just
That's probably why it disappeared. Probably why it didn't go anywhere, because the oil companies would have gone, nah, that ain't happening.
I think about a car crash. A couple of nuclear cars colliding.
Oh, yeah.
A melt. And some numpty's going to do a meltdown.
Trying to soup his car up.
Yeah. What does this button do?
MRC.
Yeah, Model Rectifier Corporation, I believe it stands for.
Okay.
And it's sort of one of the more, I would say, the more minor of the US companies.
Yep.
And we've got MPC and Lindbergh. I'm not sure if they might still be going.
Lindbergh's another one of
Lindbergh
those
made
companies
some terrible kits.
which for our listeners in the US is like their Airfix, because Lindbergh kits have been around since, Adam was a boy.
Are there any that are any good? Because they seem to all come from like 1958.
No.
I remember they did a large scale Japanese submarine.
Oh, that's a disaster.
And it was the worst thing ever. Like the escape hatch was like 5 or 6 times too large.
Well, at least you can escape properly.
Oh, yeah.
I think even worse than that, Anne, was the fact that instead of the bow going upwards, it went downwards, curved downwards. I almost wonder if they got the CAD backwards or something.
Oh, it was pre-CAD. So someone's read the diagram upside down.
They've bought the wrong book of plans.
Oh, yeah, they have.
And of course, we've got Testers.
Yep.
Still going strong with the paint line.
Yes. Or are they? Because there was a thing recently, they cut out a huge amount of paints. And so it's sort of, and there was some idea that they were going to go out of business, and then there was a press release that says, no, they're not. So
well, here in Australia, Russ French up in New South Wales still stocks a big range of Testers. And in fact, I think he was spoken on his Facebook page. He made an announcement he's got a big shipment in. So,
okay, right.
Yeah. I've never built a Testers kit, never used their paint, so...
No.
I remember Testers bought out the first conceptual stealth fighter.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a cool-looking aircraft
Right.
that they came up with. I remember that from Testers.
Nothing like the real stealth.
Oh, it was absolutely nothing like, but it looked better.
Apparently they sold a zillion of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now here's another one that will really excite people who used to build kits back in the 70s and 80s. Aurora.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sci-fi stuff they used to put out.
Mm-hmm.
Are they still going?
I think it's now Polar Lights, maybe.
Yeah, Polar Lights. Because
Yeah.
the Godzilla I'm building is actually the old Aurora kit.
Yeah, that's right.
Redone under Polar Lights.
But
Which
they did a lot of the old, like TV shows sort of
yeah,
stuff.
you can get the chariot from
Yeah.
Lost in Space. You can get a little mini diorama with the family and a tiny chariot and the big Cyclops giant. You could get Robbie the robot, and I think 2 different scales, small and large. So they did a lot.
They also made 48 scale World War I aircraft. Which was
Yes,
pretty
that's right. Yes.
But looking through the list of American stuff, though, it's a bit of a shame that there's like the biggest economy in the world is not really turning out models anymore. So,
And there's still 2 manufacturers you haven't mentioned yet,
Yeah.
of course. It's Hawk,
Yep.
which I can't say I'm familiar with any of their stuff.
Chris, who we've had on a few times before,
Yep.
he's got a Hawk U2. And in 48 scale.
Okay.
And look, it's an old dated kit.
big
but
raised panel lines. for
yeah,
sure,
but it does
yeah.
look right. It looks good.
Yeah.
Comes with a really weird looking pilot.
Quite a lot of the American kits were actually pretty good shape-wise, weren't they?
Yeah. Totally agree.
So if you're happy to rescribe, it might be the only game in town.
Rescribing's fun.
No.
That's
And
relaxing.
Is rescribing your friend?
I don't know about a friend. I'd say a reluctant lover.
And of course, mini craft who always mistake with mini art.
Oh, yes, yeah. It used to be like Academy/Mini Craft.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was.
So I didn't, to be honest, I didn't know they were an American company. I thought they were Korean.
Yeah.
So, but
You know the boys from the other podcast, Plastic Model Mojo, Martin and Dave,
Right.
good old boys from Kentucky, they'd probably sitting there listening to this episode, sort of shaking their fists at the speaker with a few of the things we've been saying. But be interesting to get their feedback on the what we've just mentioned about the US manufacturers.
Well, I think you missed one.
Yeah?
Accurate Miniatures.
accurate miniatures, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Are they dearly departed, or because they made some nice kits?
I think they're still going, actually.
No,
you can only get their stuff now through Italeri.
And Academy as
And
well.
Academy, yeah.
I remember when the Grumman Avenger came out. It was like the best aircraft kit anyone had ever seen.
Oh, it is still, in my opinion, a great kit.
Yeah, I think there's a slight shape difference because when I was converting one, I couldn't make it work.
Oh,
I had a
right.
really excellent photograph from the side,
Yep.
and something wasn't quite right.
Quite
But anyway,
right.
it doesn't matter.
Let's jump across to Taiwan now.
AFE Club.
There's only one.
AFE Club.
Yeah.
Yep. They put out some great stuff.
They do lots of interesting subjects, especially being a Taiwanese or Republic of China. Are we allowed to call them that now?
Yeah, if you want.
We might get a letter from the Chinese embassy.
Well, yes, because they're so freaking precious.
But anyway, lots of military equipment from Republic of China is that they kit. I mean, they're going to do it,
Yeah.
and generally their kits are really good. Sometimes, fit. I mean, Julian's not a big fan, I don't think.
No, not really.
But who else is making the block of cheese you're building right now?
No one. No one.
And the other thing about AFE Club is they've got a great line of 1/350 scale submarines as well.
Yes, I've
Yeah.
built a lot of
Right.
them.
Yeah,
I've built a
really
lot.
big one.
And they're U-boats. The Type 7/41
Yep.
is a stunning kit. Absolutely stunning kit. I recommend that to anyone. That is a beautiful kit.
I think you can generally, with AFE Club, buy with confidence.
Yep.
Oftentimes their kits are the best ones in the scale.
Sometimes a bit fiddly.
Yeah.
I know they're half-tracks, they're German half-tracks. I've read they're a bit of a challenge to get together.
Right.
Because multi-part hulls.
Yeah.
I've got to say the Centurion that I'm building now from them is driving me nuts, but I'll get there. I'll solve it. But
Yep.
Yeah. It's certainly not a plug-and-play model kit.
So a few of them are.
Yeah, true.
Oh, let's go to Germany then.
Okay. Of
Germany,
course,
you got Revell.
you have to start with Revell.
And look, Revell has, in my opinion, they've picked up their game in the last 5-10 years. I remember the early Revell stuff was very ordinary.
Yeah. Got to say that 32nd scale Junkers 88, that's a great kit.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're 72nd scale Schnell boats. Beautiful kits. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful kits to build.
I still think they're a bit behind.
Yeah, I'm with Julian.
The problem is they put out so much of their old stuff, and you don't know what's old or new without doing research.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, like even the new stuff is not they're being shown up by companies from Eastern Europe who really shouldn't be showing them up when you think about it.
It's Germany, quality control.
Well, that's what intellectually you'd sort of immediately jump to that conclusion, but
it's no longer.
It's not the case.
It's not the case anymore. Germany is no longer the case of fine quality control.
Well, in regards to building plastic kits,
not just that, a lot of other things. My old business, we used to deal purely with a German company that did sprayers.
Yeah,
and we noticed that over the past 10 years, the quality had just dropped.
Wow,
it's like they just don't care anymore.
Well, maybe they'd subcontracted the manufacturing outside of Germany.
There's a possibility.
No, they're actually still being built there.
Really?
Yeah, still building the factory there in Stuttgart.
Fuller. Is it Fuller or Faller?
Faller.
I always call it Faller.
Faller.
Never heard of them.
They're big in trains, but they did a range of 1/100th aircraft.
What an odd scale.
Yeah, it is. Although Tamiya did quite a few.
Yeah, that's right. They did too. Yeah.
And but again, they're still going. They're an old, very old company. I think they started in the 50s, and they did a whole bunch of really quite interesting aircraft. I sort of remember them particularly because, strangely, my mum used to build the houses. She loved making the houses they did for the trains and stuff.
Yep.
And I wasn't allowed to touch them. Don't touch them.
But so did that get you into the modelling bug?
I started so early I can't remember what got me in.
Yes, me too.
Because I had an older brother.
Yep.
And that sort of got in. I think I remember the first kit I built, but
I remember mine.
Yeah.
Now the next company I've never heard of.
Huma been around for ages.
I've never heard of them.
They were a short run company, and they did pretty much exclusively German aircraft.
Yes.
Right.
And they were generally fairly good. They weren't, but for things that no one else was going to do, they did.
They did like lots of weird like Bookie Jungmeisters and stuff like that.
Did they have raised or recessed panel lines? Do you remember?
I can't remember. I'm afraid, Robert. No,
right.
Don't know.
The big thing I like about them was, I think it's a good setup for a joke.
Yes.
Because you can have a model on the table and people will say, "Is that a Huma?" And you could do your best, Arnie. It's not a Huma.
It's not a Huma.
I once set Lawrence up for that joke at one of the meetings, and he just left it. I was so disappointed.
Good.
Now,
I put this one in for you, Ian.
Yeah, 'cause one day if I find a kid, I'm going to buy it for Julian. Caro as. I want to see Julian tackle Bakelite. Because they were made out of Bakelite.
Okay.
And have you ever tried to trim Bakelite? It shatters. Because it's very fragile stuff.
I had a vac form kit from them once.
Yeah.
A Repu.
A Repu?
Yeah. And I know that they cast some parts in resin, and they were quite clearly copies of Tamiya stuff.
But yeah, no, Caro has, I built a few of their kits, and I hope never to build another one.
Yeah, I think most of us will never come across one.
No. And if you do, just leave it alone.
Let's slip across to the land of the rising sun.
Oh, yes. Hasegawa. Now, there's a company that's been around for...
Fallen from grace, I think.
Yes.
Have they, really?
I'm not sure how long they're going to be around.
Really?
Yeah, that's just nothing new.
Yeah, it's all Reeboks, isn't it?
They used to do like 48 scale aircraft. They were churning them out one after another, and they've just stopped. And I'm disappointed because I loved their surface detailing.
Yeah.
The fit could be a bit tricky. There was always one thing in a Hasegawa kit that was tricky, but just the beautiful detailing. And of course, Japanese aircraft. I was able to. More than half of my collection is Hasegawa.
Yeah, well, that were the only ones that were making the kits.
I think they are putting kits out still.
Well, reboxings with new decals.
No, but I mean they've done the
Yemily.
No, not that. I'm thinking of the new Japanese aircraft carrier destroyer.
Oh yes, yeah. They're also doing fire engines and schoolgirls with cardigans.
Yeah, so
office chairs.
I think it's not necessarily that we're not that. Just here in the West, we're not seeing any sort of new products because there's some of the stuff is not sellable or of interest to Western models as such.
I think we can probably say they're getting out of military stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be a closer thing to say, but even still there, I mean...
And the military stuff they're releasing is now all from anime shows and so forth.
And it's a bit of a shame because the 72nd scale Emily flying boat was probably one of the best 72nd scale kits around. And the figures they did for it were just amazing.
Yeah.
And now it's a shame they're not doing it.
Yeah, it's weird.
But as a general rule, with Hasegawa, also in 72nd scale, they are beautifully surface finish. With 72nd scale, the interiors, they weren't really that big on doing a lot.
No.
So you probably, if you're really into that, you need to consider that. But a lot of the best kits in 72nd scale are going to be Hasegawa.
Correct. Then we've got Tamiya. Well,
don't need to say much about them.
No.
Except it's pronounced Tamiya.
Tamiya.
I actually did a little bit of research on them. They started out as a lumber company.
A lumber company?
And then they started making wooden models.
Yep.
And then they got out of the lumber because the models were the big business. and then they apparently this seems to be a bit common for new manufacturers in Japan, is you build a kit of the Yamato, the battleship.
Yep.
And this was their first plastic kit, and they paid to get the moulds done. It cost a fortune, and they couldn't really make money selling it at the price they did. So then they went back into wood, but then they got back into plastic because they purchased their own mould cutting stuff. I think that's the secret to being a manufacturer, is you need to cut your own moulds.
Have your own die makers. Yeah, on staff.
But, I mean, what do you say about Tamiya? They're fantastic kits. They always fit. Usually...
Well, I don't think we have needed to say too much because they are the standard.
Well, okay. Well, Julian's... Wind up. Keep going.
Wait, this is a long list.
It's
right?
a big list.
Then we've got Fine Molds. That's another good company.
Yeah, they're so small, really just a few guys, and they turn out a lot of really good kits. They did Star Wars kits, which people love. They do 48 scale and 72nd scale Japanese and German aircraft, and also lots of the 35th scale of Japanese tanks.
Yep.
So they're pretty much going to do all of the Japanese World War II tanks. So they're a really, really good fit, not so good, but they still make up into nice kits.
Yes.
So,
LS models.
LS models.
Didn't they do 144 scale aircraft?
They did that. Yeah. They did 76 scale. They did close to 72nd scale. But the interesting thing is, and this is a common to a lot of Japanese firms, is they had recessed panel lines back in the 60s, and rivets.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And people can't do it nowadays. Some people can't do it, FX. But they were doing good stuff back then. So
yeah, totally agree. Ataki and Ari, yes. Well, even they, that was my first kit I ever bought that had recessed panel lines. It was I think it was an Ari or an Ataki kit.
Right. And that also shape-wise, really good. You often hear people say their Corsair's really good. The Hellcat, they reckon, has got the smile of the Hellcat better than anyone else.
The only thing I know they really dropped on was when they did the Mark 8 Spitfire.
Right.
Because they didn't have the curves on the bottom.
The gull wing?
The gull part.
But nobody
it was flat, pure flat.
Pure flat, right.
But I do remember there was a resin conversion.
Yeah, which you bought.
Yeah. Which is, has it gone now? Or was in there? I know it was in the... I donated it to the club raffle.
I think it still might be there.
Oh, well, someone should buy it. It's got lots of details with it.
But the kits themselves are really cheap now.
Yeah.
And are really, like for a new modeler, they fit well. Mm-hmm. And you get to do all the sort of finishing techniques you would on far more expensive kits.
Yeah.
Well, probably a good start.
They build up nice.
The next one you got here I didn't even know existed, Revell Japan.
Yeah. They were like a Japanese subsidiary of Revell.
Wow.
I'm not quite sure how separate they were. But again, they did a lot of 72nd scale interesting Japanese aircraft and 32nd scale aircraft. And they're famous because one of the moulds went down on a ship. And it's like a collector kit because they only made a few of them because they were sending the moulds to America and they went down on a ship.
It sunk?
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go. What kit was that? What kit it was?
I think it was the Raiden, I think.
What scale?
32nd scale.
Ooh.
But another one, recessed panel lines. So the Japanese were well ahead in that.
Yes. Then we've got Bandai.
Well, you don't need to say much about Bandai. They're just
good quality kits.
And they do a lot of that, stuff. It's just cut and click together. And, if you're introducing kids into the modelling hobby, because it's got really interesting, cool sort of subjects that appeal to younger kids. So, not much else to say about that.
You got Aoshima.
They do some great ship kits,
and they do the Mad Max Interceptor.
Yeah,
my holy grail kit. My holy grail kit.
Fujimi.
They also do some great ship kits as well. Japanese subjects.
Even Japanese aircraft.
You know what?
Yes, I know, but it does need a lot of work.
They're actually very similar companies, Oshima and Fujimi.
Yeah.
They both just do ships and cars.
Yeah.
Mm.
And lots of other things that you're surprised, like
Things I don't care about,
tractors
right?
and
Oh, yeah. Things I don't care
earth-moving
about.
equipment.
Model Factory Hero. Ooh.
Yeah,
That's-
I put that one in for you, Julian.
Mm.
That's for the people who have lots of money.
Mm. One day I'll buy one. I'll be disappointed with it, and then I'll build it.
Because they do something. They do the all metal 135th scale Tiger tank with full working suspension.
Yeah, they do also do a whole bunch of Ferraris and other race cars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also stuff that you'd be interested in, your Shelby Daytonas and things.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you can go to their website and you can spend hours and hours and hours just looking through their catalogue.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
just
There's
huge.
so many kits.
Dayusha.
I've
I
never
do know the brand. I'm just trying to remember Dayusha what they did.
I think they did some 1/24th scale aircraft.
Yes, that's right. Oscar. They did an Oscar, didn't they?
Just trying to think.
Or was it a George?
George. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those, we didn't see them much in Australia,
No.
so we can't say a lot about them.
I have seen a few build-ups on them, and they build up really nice, those
I'm-
big-scale kits.
Japanese kits from that era were good.
Mm.
So
What, Nichimo? You got Nichimo here.
Yeah.
Nichimo. There's another brand that recessed panel lines and a ton of rivets.
yeah, and good detail.
Yeah.
Because I've got
Their Oscar. The Nichimo Oscar has got a full, beautiful cockpit, beautiful engine with bearers, exhaust, everything. Just built out of the box.
that's right, and their Sonia, the Key 51. I thought it came with a lot of interior. I thought, oh, this is all made up, and then I saw the actual photographs and drawings of the real thing. Was all perfect.
Yeah.
So
They've done their homework.
They're gone out of business now.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Let's skip back to Europe now. And we're looking at the Czech Republic.
they're like a superpower of modelling.
They are, yes.
Yeah.
A special hobby. Well, got a few special hobby kits.
They're not bad. I haven't
The
had any
plastic
issues.
can be a bit rough.
Yeah.
Well,
to the feel, I mean, rough.
they're still a short run kit manufacturer, but
Well,
they're getting close to standard level.
Yeah.
But if you want to get a really good Australian boomerang or a Wirraway, where else are you going to go?
That's right.
They're the only people. Look, you think a Czech company making obscure Australian aircraft, like a Wirraway.
Yeah.
And the Wirraway kit's really nice.
But they're in the short run business, and weird subjects are their bread and butter.
Maybe they'll do the DAP Beaufort for you one day.
The DAP Beaufort.
Yeah.
Oh, I can only hope.
Maybe.
I'd buy one in a flash. I'd probably buy 2 or 3.
AZ
Beaufort.
Model is the next one on the list.
AZ Model.
Yes.
Yeah, been around for a
Now,
while.
I think I might have a kit of theirs somewhere.
Well, I'm going to warn people. AZ models in 48 scale.
They're not
Some of them are
good.
terrible.
Yeah.
Some of them are really just horrible.
Yep.
And you really need to do your research on those. At their best, they're mediocre. But I think they're 76 scale kits. Some of them seem to be okay.
Yep.
They did some 109s, which are apparently quite nice, and some Spitfires, I believe, as well. Pretty good. But I think some of those kits are using they're sort of semi-metal moulds. They sort of coat them a resin mould with metal, and they're much sharper.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So again, that's one you need to do your research on.
Then we come to Edward.
Wow. What can you say about Edward? Geez, they're just going gangbusters.
They've really improved their game. The early Edward stuff wasn't bad, but it could be a challenge to build. But the new stuff is just amazing.
But see, Edward's one of those companies that just not just plastic models, it's decals, it's all the aftermarket stuff. They've, really... It reminds me of an octopus, the way they sort of spread their tentacles out.
Yeah.
Didn't they start off as like an aftermarket company?
They
They did, yeah.
Yes.
I think mostly photo etch.
Yeah, I remember my first with Edward was a little photo etch zoom for a P-51 Mustang, which was the instrument panel and rudder pedals.
Ah.
And their little symbol, the little knight, that little knight there. With
I think very importantly, they're run by a modeller
yeah.
who loves modelling and
Correct.
loves aeroplanes.
Yes.
and it shows.
Yeah,
It does
true.
show.
It does,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I mean, would you say now they're possibly the best in 48 scale for surface detail?
Yes.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually like, because Tamiya has decided to step back from that on, like, Edward will do surface detail equal to Tamiya's 30-second scale kits.
Yeah.
Tamiya tend to keep theirs a bit basic, which is fine.
Yeah.
Mm. But I mean, like, yeah, I really
Right.
like the
Yeah.
Edward
Yeah.
stuff.
I wouldn't say they're the best. If there was an A class,
Right.
they'd be up in the A class,
Right,
yes.
okay.
But there's a couple of other manufacturers I'd suggest is probably up there with them as well. But they're no second string, that's for sure.
No. Then we've got RS models.
Yeah, they're a 76 scale manufacturer.
They're
Those
around
ones.
for many years, aren't they?
For an Australian, RS doesn't sound good.
No.
No, it's slang word.
But
Yes.
but they make sort of pretty decent kits
Yeah.
of interesting aircraft and like, short run again. But
Yep.
they're pretty good.
Then you got Sword.
I'd sort of put them on the similar level as Sword.
Yeah.
Again, I think run by modelers. Apparently, there's sort of like there's two camps in the Czech Republic, and they sort of run of several companies.
Oh, okay.
So some of these companies that are separate actually the same people.
right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Classic airframes.
They're in a supposedly American company, but they got all their models done in the Czech Republic. So basically, you look, they're short run kits,
Yep.
good decals,
Yes.
resin. Good luck putting them together.
I know. Yeah.
But if you want a Fiat BR20,
You've got to go
you
to
got to
them.
get one. If you
Yeah.
put in the work, you get a beautiful
Or
model.
you want a decent Lockheed Hudson.
Yeah.
I mean, I've still got their old CR32, and I'll never build that because
Yeah.
I've just. And their Bolt and Paul Defiant was also a horrid kit.
Yeah. Sometimes they made terrible mistakes and got things completely wrong. Sometimes they got them right.
Yeah. MPM.
Yeah, MPM were the first short-run kit people
Yep.
I ever dealt with. Oh, some of them were horrifying.
I remember once talking to a guy who was selling off an MPM 1/16 scale Messerschmitt 262.
I didn't know they did that.
They did. It was a fiberglass fuselage and wings.
Yeah.
With lots of resin, some white metal.
Yeah.
Very rare. And what this guy was asking for, I just shook my head and walked away.
Yeah. Why was he selling it?
I think he just wanted some money.
Oh,
I think he wanted,
What else do you sell?
I think he probably wanted to buy a new kidney or something. What
Yeah.
he was asking for it, but it looked like a radio controlled aeroplane, but without the goodies.
Well,
in
they
it.
still do the fiberglass thing, don't they?
Yeah.
HPH.
No,
they're the guys that do those massive 30-second scale fiberglass.
Yeah.
Oh, they do the fiberglass thing as well.
Yeah,
they do the
B36 was
the 32 scale Catalina.
Yeah.
Which is, I've never seen anyone build one.
But the resin looks beautiful,
Oh,
doesn't it?
stunning.
Very
Absolutely stunning.
pricey, but I'd have to say if you're going to buy one of their kits, you've got to be a very dedicated builder.
You gotta have your skill levels up.
Well, they're moving into plastic now, so I can't remember the name of their company, but so we're going to see some interesting stuff from them.
And we've got Brengun.
Brengun are actually pretty good. They do some very nice, mostly 72nd scale aircraft. There's quite a lot of photo etch in them, so you'd like them in. But they sort of remind me a little bit of Armour Hobby.
Yeah.
In their thing. So if you get one of their kits, you're going to get a good kit.
AML.
AML or another sort of very short run one, and they seem quite small. They also do decal sheets. Again, I'd sort of put them on the level of RS models and Sword.
Now this one, Mark 1, I've never heard of
Well,
as a manufacturer.
they make 1/44 scale aircraft particularly, so I thought you would have heard of them.
No, yeah, okay. I have heard of them now. I've
shoe
just
just
remembered the aircraft I've got that are made by Mark 1.
Yeah.
Sidestep it.
What our club made one for the Waverley Interclub Challenge, and the actual surface detailing was fairly nice, wasn't it?
Which was that?
The little Wessex helicopter.
Yeah, that was a nice little kit. That went together really well.
Some of the early stuff, no.
It doesn't like Tamiya extra thin. It
Oh,
refuses
okay.
to glue.
Well, yeah, that's a bit of a problem.
Yeah, it's strange plastic and some of the early stuff, no.
Yep.
Okay, do you want to move on to China?
Yeah,
Yes,
let's go to
China.
Well, first off, Trumpeter. Trumpeter, hit and miss.
Well,
it depends. You got the A team, the B team, the C team, or the we really didn't give a shit team. And some of the kits really fall into that fourth category.
Fit-wise, they're normally fairly good, though, aren't they?
Well, look, I can say I've built one trumpeter armour kit,
Right.
and that was the Pershing,
Yeah.
and it was a great kit to build. It went together
Yeah.
without a hitch.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a few of their...
Some of their ships, though,
Yeah.
the detail is so lacking or incorrect.
Incorrect, yeah.
It's you just got to start chopping and
Yeah.
Well, it's their rep with aircraft, too, is that they'll be nice models, but pretty incorrect.
Yep.
But for instance, I made their trumpeter KV series tanks, and they are fantastic kits. And
because you said it, and I ended up buying one myself.
yeah, they come with Lincoln length tracks and rubber band tracks, and they're accurate and they go together well.
I think they're better at armour than anything else.
They seem to be more.
Mind you, I really enjoyed building their Wyvern, the 48 scale Wyvern. That was a great kit to build.
You'll never have any issues putting a trumpeter kit together.
Yeah.
A few question marks around the accuracy. So, again, do your research and have a look
and don't expect any information on any of the schemes either.
No, that's the one thing. They don't give you the information on the paint schemes. It's basically...
and their colours are all wrong too. Yeah.
And one thing going for them is their catalogue is vast.
Oh, it's huge.
So
it's like an encyclopedia.
Yeah.
It's like they're trying to cover everything.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, they've done pretty good. I mean, they've been a powerhouse in the modelling world for
especially if you like post-war Russian armour or military equipment, they just do everything.
Yep. Hobby Boss.
I've got a couple of ships.
Hobby Boss has done.
Hobby Boss is trumpeter.
Yeah. So is Mirrored International, right?
Yeah. It's all very, very sort of much the same camp.
Yeah.
The Hobby Boss tends to be more the World War II arm of trumpeter.
Yep.
Trumpeter tends to do post-war stuff.
And Mirrored International is like what, a premium sort of?
Well, if that's by premium you mean bad kits, yeah.
Okay.
I know they did they've done some very large scale stuff, which is not very good.
Okay.
So. Very
weird.
S model.
Yeah, S model are good because you get two kits in one. And it's sort of like maybe wargamers would be into them particularly, but they're very simple little kits of very rare armour, thing you'd never expect to get. And they're good value, so I thought I'd put them in.
Now we're on to China, Hong Kong.
Yeah, because I sort of feel China and Hong Kong are a bit different.
Yeah.
So you got TriStar.
Yeah, TriStar were a fairly short-lived company that made great German 35th scale armour kits.
I've got their Marder 3 in my stash, and that's got a nice kit. And you could spend months building that thing. The amount of detail in it is just incredible.
I bought a couple of their Mark IV kits, Panzer Mark IVs, and there's over 1,000 parts in them.
Yeah.
So and apparently they're the best Panzer IV on the market. So
still,
at least for the early ones. Yeah. So they're great. Luckily now their kits are available through Hobby Boss because Hobby Boss bought their moulds. And also very cheap. They're cheaper than other Hobby Boss kits.
Oh, that's
so
good.
if you look up TriStar kits through Hobby Boss, good value, really good value there.
Kinetic.
Well,
Kinetic.
That's what you're building right now, aren't you?
I'm building a Kinetic kit now. And
troublesome.
Yes. Because they're trying to get lots of variants out of the moulds. Oh, there's so many parts that have all got to fit together. It's just...
So here's a question. Can you judge a model company just on the one kit?
Well, you can't, but they do this with all their kits.
Do they? Okay.
They're well known for this.
All right.
It's fair enough to try and get lots of stuff out of their moulds, but you go in knowing it's going to be a bit of work to get it to fit together.
And you should expect like 2 different colours of plastic in all of their kits.
Like Matchbox. But they're very similar colours, like dark grey and light grey.
Yeah, well, they're not like colours for the colour of the vehicle is supposed to be. It's sort of just like, we decided to do these parts in one colour and those parts in another.
Hey, look, the best ever was the Malv P40N, the Australian version, because that came in lime green plastic. I'm presuming the plastic manufacturers were probably pumping out water pistols before this order came in. That's the colour of the plastic.
Kitty Hawk.
Oh,
what's their nickname, Julian?
I don't know. What do you...
Shitty Hawk.
Okay.
Shitty
Hawk.
So there goes the PG rating of this episode.
Sorry.
I already blew that. I blew that an hour ago.
Oh, you did, yeah.
So Kitty Hawk, all you need to know is nice enough service detail. But
their attitude is if they got a problem, well, it's up to the modeler to fix it.
Yeah.
Which is not good in my books.
No.
If you've got a product and it's got a problem, fix it. Don't just say to the modeler, well, it's tough titties. You figure it out.
So really good subject selection. They make stuff that people really want.
Yeah.
And people have no choice but to go to them for. That's how they make a living.
Yeah.
Because if there was an alternative, you would go elsewhere.
Oh, yeah, especially for the Sukhoi. That's a dog of a kid.
Like a more recent criticism has been their Huey, which had the recessed rivets instead of raised ones.
Wow.
Mark that one up.
Bronco models.
Yeah, Bronco are nice, but just over, just way too many parts and way too fiddly. And
yes, I've always got a go-to story about Bronco because they do a lot of British armour kits, which I like. I built their Humber armoured car. I'll never forget it. It's one of those things, you know, you...
It almost it broke your spirit.
Yes. It's careful what you wish for. You know, I used to think, imagine a model so detailed, and I got one. It was a nightmare to build. It's just, I really hated it. And in the end, it's a beautiful model, but just was so complicated.
I totally agree. When I did the United States 37mm anti-tank gun, that was just so many more pieces that were needed.
Yeah, it looks like it could be made out of like 6 pieces, right? But
honestly, I'd say you'd probably be able to do something like that in probably about 40 pieces. With them, they threw about 60, 70 pieces in there and like glue this tiny bit to that bit. Well, any other manufacturer would have moulded it together as a one piece. But no, these guys got to make every single component. What's next? Every single screw head? Ridiculous. But
they just said it, they're thinking, well, that's a good idea.
Yeah, now I've done it. Sorry, guys. But as Robert said, when the kit's done, it looks great.
Their ship models aren't bad.
Yes.
Yeah, they're a good company, but no going in. It's going to be work.
Yep. Rich. Now that's a new company.
Well, actually, I think we should put Rich and Cam's, another company, in together.
Yep.
Because I think it's Bronco models. I know with Cam's. In fact, I know it's Bronco models because I was speaking to someone that was helping them do their
importing
their universal carrier,
right?
Helping them with stuff. George Moore, and he was saying that it was originally a Bronco project and then moved to Rich. But Cam's is like all the models are done by Bronco, and they're great. They're doing great stuff, but they're all Chinese from around the Second World War period, like 37 to 45. And this guy's interested in them, and he's apparently a merchant banker. And it's like he says to Bronco, I want you to do a kit of this, and does it for them, and it's all done through his company.
Well, Rich actually do some submarines, which I've built some of them.
Oh, yeah.
So they do the Los Angeles class nuke boat, or the SSN, I think. The Hunter boat, anyway. The interesting thing about them is they'll do the Flight 1, Flight 2 and the Flight 3 in separate boxings, which are all slightly different with add-ons. So it's really quite an accurate kit. So my experience with them has been quite good, actually.
Can they make a submarine complicated?
No, it's no.
Submarine complicated.
They're working on it, I'm sure.
Yeah, they will. They'll find a way.
Dragon.
Yeah.
Dragon's really disappointed me lately.
Really?
Yep.
They used to be so good.
They used to be so good. Now they've removed all the good stuff. Just plain boxes, plain parts, and nearly doubled the price of their range.
The price is the big worry, I find.
It's the pricing what they're asking for some of their armour kits is just borders on the ridiculous.
Our low dollar's a big factor in that.
Yeah. But
having said that, Dragon have done a lot of interesting ship subjects that nobody else has touched. A lot of modern US stuff, which is nobody else had built before. So
and their 1350 scale Scharnhorst is a gorgeous kit.
And that's another company that's got a large catalogue.
Yeah.
And it's just almost like an encyclopedia of sort of military equipment.
Mind you, there were some issues with some of their 172nd scale aircraft.
Yeah.
Apparently their P-61's a bit of a dog to build.
Well, the majority of their catalogue is just German armour, right?
Yeah.
But by and large, you're pretty safe if you...
Well, look at that Dragon 148 scale aircraft. if it wasn't Luftwaffe, it wasn't available.
That's right. Yeah.
Really. That was their first company you could actually start buying 48 scale Focke-Wulf 190s after TriMaster, which as TriMaster became Dragon.
A lot of people give Dragon a lot of crap for their instructions.
Yeah.
It's not that bad, to be honest.
Oh, I don't know. I've got some kits.
Oh,
I've got
they're
Dragon
wrong.
kits. You're reading the instructions,
but at
and
least you can always go forward and go, oh, that's what they mean.
Yeah.
Right? There are some kits out there from other companies, like the Reeboxed Accurate Miniatures kits, that are missing a lot of their information, and you're lost.
Yes.
Completely.
Correct.
They take a lot of grief lately, but they have given us some fantastic.
They have, yeah, absolutely.
Totally agree. TACOM.
Great kits.
Nice kits.
And a nice upstart company, aren't they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of feel TACOM's philosophy is like they're going to be the Chinese Tamiya.
Yeah.
They're just the feel about the kits. They're not too complicated. The only thing I find weird is the square sprue runners on the.
Yeah.
I don't know why I find that strange,
weird.
but it's just weird.
Very weird.
Meng.
Mung.
One of the best model companies in the world, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very high
If you
quality.
want good quality models, Mung.
Never had any issues with them whatsoever.
No.
Yep.
Tiger models. I've built one of the early kits. It was a little bit rough, but it worked well enough. It was an armor kit, and I could say that they're around the average mark, I would say.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Panda is Kitty Hawk's armor
Wing.
Yeah, armor wing. Yeah. A lot of really ridiculous engineering, from what I hear.
Just over-engineered.
Yeah, things like, let's make this thing out of photo etch that doesn't need to be, and stuff like
I don't
that.
know. Maybe some of these companies just masochists. They just want to make us modelers suffer.
Yeah.
New Zealand.
New
the
Zealand.
land of the long white cloud. Well, of course, you've got one of the greatest new start companies ever.
Wingnut
Wings.
Yep.
They probably occupy the number one position, right?
For quality, yeah.
They're in the A class.
They are definitely double A class.
Yeah, I think your idea of classing is probably a good idea, Steph. So, yeah.
And you know what? And I can't recall a misstep that they've done. And if they have,
they rectify
it and put their hand up and say, hey, we made a mistake.
Yep.
So, yeah, they're just really great. I think there's not much more we can really say about them.
No, except, look, they're pricey, but you're going to get good, interesting subjects with lots of decal schemes.
They're pricey, but you
pay for what you get. Yeah, you pay for what you get.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Falcon.
Never heard of them.
They made vac form canopies.
Oh, there you go.
They might have also I put them in because I didn't want to only have one thing from New Zealand, but I think they also did some kits as well, sort of maybe but I'm not quite sure.
Oh, right.
The ones I do know about is Ventura.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had a kit of theirs of the Kicker, the Japanese jet.
Yes.
And had beautiful surface detailing on it, but underneath they had ejector pins that were like a quarter of an inch high.
Yeah.
And like this looks like a worm had so they could get the plastic to run through the moulds. But they make up.
I remember I had one Ventura kit from going back to the early 80s. And the thing was, I don't know what plastic they were using, but it was as brittle as glass.
Yeah.
Like you try and cut something or cut off the sprue, and next thing you know, the whole chunk just breaks off. There goes half of your wing.
I did see there's a fairly new kit, I think, coming out from them now. It's a reboxing of de Havilland, I think, Dragon Rapide.
Ooh.
And it's one of those aircraft that had a lit up sign underneath it, and they don't do the sign as actual lighting up with a lit up light, but you paint it with the glow in the dark paint, which sort of impressed me. I love glow in the dark paint.
No, we gotta love that.
Yeah.
Let's go across to the Ukraine.
Another superpower.
Yeah.
Yes. Mini art. Going leaps and bounds,
Yeah.
leaps and bounds, leaps and bounds.
They're my favourite armour company because they make Russian stuff I'm interested in.
Yep.
But their kits are just fantastic.
And they make the Dingo Scout, which I've
Yes.
just purchased.
And the new Grant with the full interior.
I've got two of
You got
those.
two?
Yeah, they are
2 Grants.
fantastic kits.
All right. ICM.
I wouldn't class them quite. They're actually older than Mini Art, who only started in 2001. But some of their kits are really nice. Again, do a bit of research, but generally they're pretty good. So, and they seem to be getting better. So,
They cover a lot of the twin-engine German bombers.
They do, don't they?
Yeah. They're the Dawn Flying Pencil.
Yeah, I would say they're probably in the average sort of category. You know, they're not contended. They probably don't fit that well, but they're good. They're in the middle ground. They're not too bad.
Without too much work, you can get a good model out of it.
Yeah.
Wingsy kits.
Kits.
I think Wingsy kits are great.
Yep.
Very small company, and they brought out the Claude, which is fantastic.
That was in 72, wasn't it?
And 48 scale.
And 48 scale, yeah.
And
overpriced.
They're expensive. You get resin and photo etch with them as well, and they're effectively short-run kits, but they don't look like it. So they're really good.
Good quality.
And I think we can expect to see a lot. They're actually working on a BF 109E at the moment, which I fully expect to be the best 109E in any scale. Probably.
Yeah, definitely.
So they're looking really good.
Now, Copper State Models, of course, used to be a US company, was sold to Ukrainian purchasers. Now, I believe, and this is what I hear, yet another loss to the US, but still a gain to the modelling world. I believe when they were selling, Copper State Models are selling, they were really keen to make sure the quality and the name carried across to somebody who's passionate about model manufacturing. And I believe they took their time actually sort of, selling it to make sure they sold it to somebody who kept the standard up.
Well, they got it in spades, didn't they?
They did,
they're fantastic.
Yeah.
So true.
And, Copper State Model, they've got the best instruction manual next to Wingnut Wings.
Yeah.
In fact, they probably stole a leaf out of their book.
Yeah.
But nice and clear, and you can't go wrong purchasing one of these kits, I don't think.
Yeah.
Dora Models, I've heard good things.
Yes.
Yeah, I have too. I've never built any of their stuff.
They do interesting subjects, and the kits are nice.
They're doing it. They've done the what was it,
the block MB 151 and 152.
Yep, and they've also bringing out another French aircraft. I believe.
Yes, they are. The Maran Saulnier D520. No, that's not right. MS 410, I think it is. MS 406 and 410.
Yep.
Yeah. So I expect that will be really good too.
Cool.
So there so many good companies over there.
Models Vit.
Yeah, Models Vit are short run.
Yep.
But it has the sort of the sort of tick of approval from. Do you remember Gaston Marty?
Yes.
And Sherwood?
Yes.
Well, he said there's basically been 2 or 3 kits that have been good, and one of them is the Models Vit Yak 9DD. So apparently super good shapes. I've got a couple of Models Vit kits of Russian aircraft. Very short run, but they come up really well.
They come up nice. Oh, cool. Clear Prop.
Well, Clear Prop do small scale.
Yeah.
They did the Claude in 72nd scale.
Correct.
And
famously diabolically complex.
Yes, but goes together okay, and is a beautiful kit. And they're just churning out new kits all the time now. They're not cheap, but they're doing a less expensive range without resin.
Right.
So again, just another great Ukrainian company.
AMG Armour Model Group.
Yeah, they're sort of a bit more. They're a bit more old school. They again short run stuff, but lots of interesting subjects.
Master Box figures, another powerhouse in regards to the figure modelling world, and they're always coming out with new stuff all the time and doing a really good job. Yeah.
A Model.
Yeah, A Model do lots of very interesting, obscure, very large aircraft in 72nd scale.
Okay.
Often, some of them actually they're so big they have resin, fiberglass parts.
Wow. So they must be large.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing, if you're an enthusiast for a weird aircraft, have a look at them. You're going to have to work hard to get a good model out of it, but at least they make it.
Yep. Ace.
Ace do 72nd scale armour a lot, and it's looks like short run, but they make them into beautiful kits. Chris Howes from our club has made some, and they make up into beautiful kits. Of course, he's a great modeller.
Yeah,
but,
that helps.
That helps, but they've got a massive catalogue as well, so really interesting stuff.
Rodin. Now, this company's been around for a while.
Yeah.
And one thing about Rodin, some of the best box art.
Yeah,
the Opal Blitz.
Oh, jumping in the air.
Jumping in the air is just and the box art for their OV Broncos.
Oh, yeah.
Those little, what are they, spotter planes they used to do in Vietnam.
The Mohawk?
Mohawk, yeah. The box art is just amazing.
I'm just thinking about the jumping truck. They do the Opel Multia, which is the half-track version.
Yep.
It's also jumping.
Oh, even better.
Don't they do aircraft like they...
they do a lot of World War One aircraft.
Yeah, they do World War One aircraft, but they do other aircraft, that, like you said, those Cessna 02.
Mind you, the World War One aircraft are really nice.
They are terrible decals.
Yeah, I gather the decals weren't going to be much chop.
They're awful, and apparently tricky to get together, but they're good. So,
because I've got the SE5A,
yeah,
and geez, you could build about 4 or 5 different versions just out of the box.
Yeah,
I built their Rolls-Royce armoured car, and it was shockingly bad. The plastic that they made it out of was really disgusting.
Yeah. That's no good. All right, UM Military Techniques.
Never heard of it.
Another very small company doing 72nd scale armour and military stuff.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I don't know much. Skiff, yeah.
SKIF.
They're older, and they do 35th scale armour, and I'd only get them if there was no other option.
Okay. Toko?
Your Toko 72nd scale aircraft, I believe.
All right.
More obscure stuff, short run. So.
And then you got one asterisked.
Yes.
Because it's Unicrap.
Or Unicraft.
Unicraft. You got to use the proper name.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of these in the flesh, and diabolical resin.
Oh, it's shocking.
But the guy turns them. It's one man apparently, and he turns out these super obscure aircraft and what ifs and stuff, and they're made. I know someone that had the resin actually checked out scientifically.
Spectrum analysed.
Whatever that is, science stuff.
Science.
And it's apparently a mixture of polyurethane resin
and toenails
and paint.
And paint.
Yeah, and paint. So
interesting.
Yeah,
bizarre.
You've got to really want something to get them.
Yeah. All right, now let's go to Russia.
Let's go to Russia.
And we start off with Zvezda.
Yes, Zvezda of the rubbery canopy plastic.
Yes.
You know what? Zvezda are putting out some great ship kits, and they're not too bad at all. Some of the early stuff...
Well, ships don't have canopy parts.
Oh, well, put aside your bias against ships for a minute. Just some of their latest stuff. And they're putting out some really interesting stuff in pre-World War One ships and stuff like that. And
And there's a lot of Russian Navy battleships and cruisers you can get through that for the Second World War.
Yeah,
which you wouldn't find anywhere else.
Yeah. I would suggest, like I know, their aircraft are some of the best going, except for the canopies. The PE2, the twin-engine bomber, fantastic kit, supposedly kit of the year for some people. But some of their older stuff's not so good. It's again, and in their armour, some of their early armour, pretty awful. Newer stuff like the T-35 and T-28, fantastic. They're doing T-34s, which are really good and much cheaper than the Dragon ones. So, again, check and see that they're good kits.
Weird things like, if I recall, their T-90 is known for being really good, but their Terminator, which is the same chassis, just a different turret kind of thing, that you would think that they would just carry those sprues across. They didn't. It's completely different.
Oh, wow.
And it's bad.
Which is odd considering they're probably one of the few companies in the world that got access to all the latest Russian equipment to go and check and
Well,
build.
actually, I believe Zvezda is Star in Russian.
Yeah, that's right. It is too. Next company.
Well, so these are the, I suppose we put them together, now called Micro Scale Design, but was originally Maquette, STC Start and Allinger. I'm not sure if that's the correct pronunciation. Older kits, I'd stay away from them unless you really, really want them.
Well, you should have told me that 4 years ago when I bought an Allinger kit because it's still sitting in my stash and it's a shocker.
Yeah.
Put it on the bottom in case your bathroom floods again.
Yeah, there you go. Find a use for it, Dave. All right, let's go over to Canada. Hobbycraft.
I never knew it was a Canadian company.
Yeah, Hobbycraft's at Canada.
Wow.
Yeah.
You better talk to the Canadian boys about that.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Still going?
No, they've just stopped last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, They made a lot of. I remember them from 48 scale aircraft mainly. That's pretty much what they did mostly.
Yeah.
I think they did some 72nd scale stuff too. Nice recess panel lines, very shiny plastic. Not much in the way of interiors. Some of the kits were nice, lots not so nice. But sometimes it was, at the time, it was the only game in town.
Yeah, it's what you could get your hands on.
Yeah. Bit of a shame they're gone now. But
yeah. Then we got South Korea.
You know, I'm surprised there's only one company from South Korea on this list.
Yeah, it's unusual.
Yeah, I
isn't it?
know.
Academy.
That's
It's
Academy.
the only one I know of.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you were talking about anime and stuff, there's probably lots of them.
Oh, yeah.
So Academy is, again, that's the Korean version of, well, I would have to say Trumpeter.
No, I always thought they were pretty much on par with, what was the other one? The other hobby. Oh, we were looking at it before.
The story is that they started off copying Tamiya kits.
Yeah.
But they're sort of like a middle range company, I would say now. The kits are, pretty nice.
And look, as I said, it's their 51st anniversary.
Yeah.
And again, their catalogue is huge.
Yeah.
You know, they've been around 50 years, so they've got a lot of, backlog of stuff that they can sort of still pump out. And, by and large, you won't be disappointed with a modern or more recent sort of moulding of a Academy kit.
Yeah, and chances are some of them will be accurate miniatures kits too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's one nation we forgot, guys.
Australia.
Yep.
And there's 2 manufacturers I can think of.
Yes, Southern Cross Hobbies.
Oh, there's 3 companies I can think of.
Southern Cross Hobbies, which we've spoken during Expo last year.
Yep.
We spoke to Roy, who's the owner of the company, and they do that nice, is it a Mercedes or Auto Union or something?
Yep.
Really nice sports car. Then we've got
Showcase Hobbies.
Showcase Hobbies, which do the
Bushmaster and the
Collins class and
submarine.
the HMAS Vendetta.
Yes.
Which pretty nice kits. I've got to say the Collins class submarines are beautiful to build.
Yeah.
There's only about 5 or 6 pieces, but it's a really nice kit, and they've done a really good job on it.
Yeah.
Apparently, you got to do a slight bit of fiddling with the Vendetta to get it up to proper World War II specs, but it's achievable.
Yep. And the last one is Horizon Models, who do Tony from up in New South Wales, who's doing the Gemini. Beg your pardon, the Mercury and
the missiles,
early space age rockets.
Yeah. Mercury and Atlas rockets. That's right.
I know there's another company we forgot. I don't know where they come from, but what about Planet Models?
I didn't put them in. They're check. I didn't put them in because they're resin.
Oh, okay. So we're only doing plastic.
Right, there you go.
Because there's one company, if you wanted something really weird and obscure, Planet Models.
And I'm sure there's probably quite a few we've forgotten
there'd be a
or
lot.
haven't captured. A lot of sort of backyard sort of hobby model manufacturers that we've missed, but that's by and large not a comprehensive list, but certainly the list with the guys who do mostly injection moulding.
Maybe a good thing we missed out on some of them because we might have said bad things about them. Probably best not.
Too true.
So there's also one Japanese company called Kotobukiya, and they stick to the Gundam type sort of stuff.
Oh, right.
So we wouldn't really, like, for the stuff that we do, we wouldn't really cover it for the most part. From what I understand, they don't have the rights to all the Bandai stuff, so they cover everything else. Yeah, that's all I know about them.
Well, there you go. Well, there's our list.
Terrific.
We've missed some, probably. We've probably said some things that people don't agree with. You'll let us know.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we've named some names that you didn't hear before.
Yeah, certainly a couple there that I hadn't heard of, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
Robert, thank you very much for coming along and with your comprehensive encyclopedic knowledge.
Too bored.
No, never.
That's interesting.
Not on this show.
Never skip down memory lane for some people.
Too true, mate. Too true.
So thanks very much for coming. We'll definitely have you back on the show in the future.
Me. Always enjoy coming on.
Yes.
No worries. Gentlemen, let's do a sign off and think about wrapping up because we're coming for 2 hours now.
Well, as you know, photo etch is your friend.
Nice and easy. Julian.
Didn't I say something once before about
tools?
Yeah, tools. Yeah. Not that I am one.
Julian.
Just to clarify.
Julian, the king of tools. That doesn't
the
sound
king
right.
of tools.
Doesn't sound right at all.
I like the double dimensions on that. That sounds good. Yeah, just broaden your tools. I don't think you can go wrong with that.
Yes.
All right, guys, no worries. Thanks for listening. As always, thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoyed the show. Of course, don't forget to pop across and listen to Anthony and Stuart from the Scale Model Podcast. Also, don't forget we have a couple of new kids on the block. We got Plastic Model Mojo, our friends from Kentucky in the US, Martin and Dave. And then there's the Scale Model Shed, which is the other podcast from the UK. Three likely lads over there who put a great show together. Thanks very much for being with us. Don't forget to drop us an email at onthebench64 gmail.com, and I will be back with the boys in a fortnight. Catch you later. Bye.